Cosmic Raccoon, God, love that Discord name, says, I'd love to hear a theory of the case for how the Timberwolves defense is going to work with Cat at the 4. He struggled on the perimeter as a 5, and fast 4s will blow right by him. And since Gobert can't punish wings on either side of the court, teams can still put the 5 on Cat. So it isn't as if the mismatch on defense of Cat as a 4 will be an advantage on offense. I know they're stagger their minutes, but to start and likely finish the game with Cat trying to be a 4 defensively seems like it's going to be a big issue for them, even in the regular season, let alone the playoffs. First and foremost, this is a question I think everyone is pondering a ton. Shout out to the best like content I've consumed where they've discussed it or written about it. Dane Moore of the Dane Moore podcast did a great job and sort of a deep dive. It wasn't his initial reaction to the pod, I don't think. I think he did a follow-up one, but you should go check that out. Also, Nekias Duncan wrote a great piece at basketballnews.com about the fit, the concerns, the highs, the lows, everything about Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns. So I don't think a lot changes for the Wolves defensively right away because they had Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, they didn't always use him as a 4 necessarily on defense, but they had him coming up high and being really super aggressive. Now you get to do that, and then just Rudy Gobert is behind you. And they had like Jared Vanderbilt last season. That's just, Rudy Gobert is a different animal there. And animal's a bad term there. A different beast there. So, like, I just feel you can give Towns more free reign. And Rudy has spent the better past of the half decade covering up for a ton of perimeter issues with the Utah Jazz. And when you have guys like Jaden McDaniels or Kyle Anderson, plus Anthony Edwards, who I don't really know how I feel about him necessarily as a consistent on-ball defender, but he can just be disruptive away from the ball or when it comes to making plays, forcing turnovers. That's an upgrade over what he was working with in Utah collectively. Maybe you think Royce O'Neal is better than Anthony Edwards overall defensively. That might actually be a debate this past season. Shout out to Royce O'Neal, though. He's been overtaxed for way too long on the defensive end in Utah. Excited to see what he does in Brooklyn or his next team, depending on what the Nets do. Where was I? But you have Jaden McDaniels and Kyle Anderson. That's just two solid guys in front of you. So I'm not too worried about the aspect of how do you go about it for 40 to 44 minutes of the game. There'll be plenty of staggering, like Cosmic Raccoon said. If you can let Towns be a little bit more aggressive, also having like someone who is just the single best rim protector maybe the NBA has ever seen. And we're actually going to get into Rudy Gobert a little bit later with another question to where I think that our question asker, whom I appreciate and love dearly, obviously, because I love everyone dearly in Discord, might be underrating Rudy Gobert's speed. Like, is there a chance that Karl-Anthony Towns could just learn and take cues from Rudy Gobert to where maybe he's even more interesting when he's playing the 5? Or he can look, Rudy Gobert, maybe he's not like the most explosive or quick laterally, but he is someone who's able to get downhill if he's like kind of going east-west and his body's turned, or knows how to use length and space to his advantage when he's defending outside the basket. I'm not saying that the Timberwolves brought in Rudy Gobert to tutor Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is just underwhelmed defensively a lot. I just think now you're sort of giving him more of a license on defense without there being a potential drawback. Where I do think, and Cosmic Raccoon touches upon this, it becomes an issue is in crunch time. Are you making the tough decisions of, we're only going to close with Gobert and we'd rather have like a Kyle Anderson and Jaden McDaniels set up on the front line? No, because you just supermaxed Karl-Anthony Towns. Not that it kicks in, but like you have all this money invested in Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns. They're going to play together down the stretch of big games. And that's where against maybe just more athletic ball handlers at the 4, or if teams are able to create mismatches, they still have to worry if they get inside about Rudy Gobert. But pulling up over Towns or getting, just creating space, whether it's with step backs or skate dribble threes, maybe just coming up on popping from the mid range, which we know that that's, part of the appeal of having Rudy Gobert there is he's such a deterrent. People will pull up from mid range, but if you're getting behind Towns, he's not the type of player who's going to come up and dismantle that player, that shot attempt from behind. And so I do think there's a real concern there. I'm just not worried about it overall in the regular season. I feel like the Wolves have a chance to be like a top 3 or 4 seed in the West. I don't know if I would put them in and I didn't when I power ranked my contenders in the top 7 or 8 contenders in the league right now. I think it's a real issue in crunch time, and I don't know how it's going to work or if it's going to work in crunch time or the postseason overall until we actually see it in action. But I think that the Wolves have adequately covered up for Towns. Now, whether it's an issue that you had to cover up for someone that you just decided to supermax, remains to be seen. Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the most valuable offensive players in the NBA, especially at his position, but just overall. And I think that this pairing ends up being on both ends of the floor. Just looking at Gobert's rim running, I think it's and screening. I think it's going to end up being way more dominant than people think, at least for the regular season. But there's going to have to be an improvement from Towns, or is it just Rudy Gobert papers over so much it doesn't matter? We're going to see him, and that could be part of it too. It's just like having Jaden McDaniels specifically on the court, even Anthony Edwards. Like if Rudy Gobert needs to come up higher once Towns gets beat, you have guys behind you who you can trust to make those secondary stops of players who cut to the basket, or even if the ball handler still continues to get through. So Rudy Gobert covers so much space that I just don't think the concerns about the Towns fit matter as much for, like I said, 40 to 45 minutes of the game at this point. We'll have to see if teams are able to pick them apart more meticulously over the course of a best of 7 series, though.